A super run of Chris Gayle continues. Lots of entertainment. No spectators in the stadium to catch all those high balls, and he's happened to hit 1,000 of them now in T20 cricket, bringing that milestone up with this wonderful knock of 99, a well-deserved century. Just out of reach for him, but it's taken Punjab to 185 for the loss of 4 wickets in 20. You think that Gayle got 99 of 63. You're going, well, 185 should have got 200 plus the way they were going, the way Puran was going, little cameo, 22 of 10. But the captain still got the runs, not at the clip that he would have liked it. I've Pommie and Michael still here with me. Michael, it's a little strange to look at 185, which is a great score by any team, and go, I feel like they left about 20 runs on the table.
Yeah, I'm just trying to work out the pitch. Sometimes when you get a player like Chris Gayle that plays so well, he can make a pitch that, like it's an absolute belter. He's just got so much power that, I just wonder whether there is a little bit of stickiness to the surface. It is kind of stopping in the deck every now and again. So 185 is a good score on any day. But on particular this wicket, it's the 5th time they've used this 22 yards throughout the tournament. So I still think it's a very good score. But when you look at Gayle-Rahul, who's been in tremendous form with what he did, and his strike rate could have probably just been lifted just by a few knots towards the end. But I still think 185 is a very, very good score.
Great batting effort, Pommie. It's hilarious that we were just before this game in the pre-show. We were saying that Chris Gayle just doesn't get enough credit. I don't think that'll be a problem even for his biggest detractors today, right?
Yeah, as sitting there watching that as he is going along, straight after our combo, so I've gone off and sitting with the other guys here and said, I think you get 100. And I don't know why, I just thought he might, right? Because of these boundaries that Michael's talking about, the fact that he can hit boundaries. And just wondering, is there a 41-year-old or 40-year-old who's able to play in these leagues, in the IPL, and do as he's done this season? It's some feat, I tell you, to be able to do what he's done in the last 6 games that he's played. Brilliant. It's brilliant stuff.
Yeah, he really was brilliant today. He was 99 of 63. He's got 6 fours. He's got 8 sixes. Michael, also, this bowling effort was a little strange. There was I thought there was some inspired pieces of bowling where the plan was right and the execution was right. And then just some rank gifts like Merry Christmas. Here's a no ball full toss for you, Glenn Maxwell. First up, strike it for 4 and get a free hit. I mean, it was a tale of two cities.
You could almost say it's been the story of Rajasthan throughout the whole of the IPL. They've just not quite been consistent enough as a group. Jofra Archer once again magnificent. Ben Stokes hasn't bowled a great deal, but he bowled well today with all these slow balls. He's kind of changing the way that he's bowling in T20 cricket. What Chris Gayle does really well is he sits and waits. So Jofra Archer's bowling, when he faced him early on, he was just allowing Jofra Archer to get through the over. And then all of a sudden the youngster comes on to target and he goes, right, this is my time. And he just chooses his moment, chooses his bowlers. And once, it must be quite intimidating, Pommie, that when you run into ball and in the back of your mind he's going to pick on you. As a bowler, you're not going to follow through because if he hits one straight back at you, you're getting cleaned out. But that feeling at the end of if you're Jofra Archer, you know that he's not going to target you, so you can be a bit relaxed. But if you're that young kid at the end of your mark and you know that the universe boss is targeting you, I can't think of a feeling any worse, to be honest.
It's like a new kid going to school on the first day, walking towards the gang of bullies going, this is going to be trouble. Right, Pommie?
Look, I can 100% identify with that feeling. One, of being the youngster. 2, of not having the pace and knowing that whatever you're bringing, it's going to have to be 100% because those that have gone before have had the pace. And so it's kind of been a wait and see scenario. And then it's kind of all out attack at you. And when you're 19 years old and you're facing a guy whose bats like a barn door and doesn't block it, just hits it out the ground, that's difficult times. Very difficult times. And you're going to miss your mark sometimes. As Bish said, I think Bish said on commentary at the time, that this is like writing a university thesis, because and one where you're not really prepared, that you know what the tools are you should have, and you kind of have the information, but you don't know how to put it together. So and I think that's all kudos to Chris Gayle, because that's what you're supposed to do. Put pressure when you have the opportunity to put pressure. Seize the game where there is the chance where you can seize the game, and kind of see it off where you realize that there is danger. And Jofra Archer is that guy, and he saw that, and he did that. That's why he gets 99. That's why they get 185.
I have to say, though, in Kartik Tyagi's defense, that there was one Yorker in particular in his first over that he bowled to Chris Gayle, which Big Gayle almost stumbled over. We're looking at that and saying, all right, the kid's got a big heart. He's young. He's got a big heart, but, well, he couldn't do that for 24 deliveries, and you could tell. And Chris Gale's that kind of player. You err in your line and length by just this much, and he is sitting and waiting. He's on the prowl. He's a lion, and he is going to jump. And when he jumps, your neck is gone. That's it. He's got you. Well, today, there's somebody who has got it just bang on, a bit like that Tyagi Yorker, a bit like one of the Chris Gayle sixes. It's Pommie. He got it. Spot on. 186 was his guess. 185 is, so he's a my 11 circle expert of the day, the badge owner winner. Well done. Big applause from me and from belated birthday boy Michael Vaughan. Big applause for you, Pommie. How does it feel? What's going on in your mind?
I want to say thanks to my mom and to my dad, and can I say thanks to my wife as well, and kids and family? Yeah, thank you very much, everyone. Yeah,
you should share it around. not to us, not us. We
no, it didn't help.
No, nothing. Mute him. Just mute his mic for the next one.
Fist bumps.
Fist bump. We'll take it in these socially distanced times. We'll take the fist bump. All right. Well, if you have a look at the Rajasthan batting lineup, they will be having a look themselves and saying, listen, we can do this. Listen, we can do this. We've done it once before, just a few days ago, against a very accomplished bowling attack of Mumbai. We can do this today. We've got a Ben Stokes who's in form. We've got a Butler who hasn't really got that much of a chance. But we've got Samson who's got some runs in the previous game. It's Michael, it's a good batting lineup. They go up till 8. Archer can swing the bat around and hit it outside the ground.
Yeah, I mean, when you're chasing a total like this, it's about the start. I mean, you know, all the stats tell you can't lose too many wickets in that power play. They've got the quality. They've got enough kind of variation in their batting. I don't think they have to go gung for ho straight away. I think they can just give themselves a little bit of time. Yes. You look at Chris Gayle. He gave himself a few balls just to get used to conditions, get used to the pace. I think it'd be worthwhile them doing that as a batting unit, just giving themselves 2 or 3 balls to get used to the pitch, because you can always catch up, particularly with the way that they play these days. They've got all the shots, all the boundary kind of options. It will take 1 or 2 players clearly to get a decent score, if not a Ben Stokes style innings from the previous end. You remember they chased more than this in the last game on this venue, so
195.
I think they'll be quietly confident, but I don't think it's quite as good a pitch as that one against Mumbai.
Yeah, it's not. And they were mentioning Pommie on comms as well, that it was sticking a little bit. It's just that, as Michael said, Chris Gayle just negates the surface. He negates the pitch and just takes the discussion away from it. But if you look at the other batters, not Pooran, because Pooran's pretty much a young Gayle, isn't he, that way? Big shoes to fill, but he's a bit like him. Yeah, he just smashes.
I love watching him. It just smashes it. It doesn't matter what's going on. Just in sixes. That's all it is. It's just like, yeah. And it's like he swings as hard as he can. It's hard. Man. And strikes it well as well. I think it's important for Rajasthan, the fact that Ben Stokes got some runs. It's important, I think, in 2 ways. You see, in watching him go up to the top, and I was one of those who said, and I think on here said, I'm a fan of them letting him go to the top, simply because when he's batting down the order and hasn't played for some time and is trying to find a groove, the situation dictates him what he ought to do.
Yeah.
But when he's batting up at the top, it's kind of one way, isn't it? He can try and get himself in, or he can try and hit and go over the top and try and play cricket shots that will, go through the field rather than necessarily over it. Now that he's got some runs, he'll have some sort of method and confidence, and some you might call it form, even though it's 1 innings. and he might work it out for them. And if he does get going for them, then they probably could chase anything. I say that because of the knowledge of how good Stokes is, and he showed us there. As Michael says, though, the challenge is the pitch. We're going to see what happens with the pitch, and winning the toss and bowling first is because the expectation is that it does change. There's a little bit of dew, and it's going to get that bit better. If it does, then I wouldn't be surprised if they chased it down.
Yeah, and this pitch would definitely, the pitch gives some assistance and has a little bit of stickiness. You know, you have the guile of a Chris Jordan who can totally use that to his advantage because he is one of those foxy, guily bowlers. But there you go. He, of course, has the help of the leg-spinning twins of Murugan Ashwin and Ravi Bishnoi. Arshdeep, who's been so good. Young head, but wise head on his shoulders. And then, of course, one of the best in the world, Mohammad Shami. And they'd be hoping that he can knock a couple in the power play. But Michael, just coming to Ben Stokes, of course, big wicket, got 100 in the previous chase against Mumbai. And a bit like in backyard cricket and gully cricket, he wants to bat up top. He wants to bat first. He has said so. And his ambitions are not just limited to Rajasthan. Look at your boy, Michael. He wants first dibs for England as well.
Yeah, he's in a queue. He's in a queue of about 10.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
He ain't going to the top of the order for England. I can tell him that. I mean, Jason Roy, Johnny Bairstow, Josh Butler does it for England in the T20 game. You got Alex Hales. Will they bring him back in eventually? From being on the naughty step, you feel that probably won't happen under Owen Morgan's leadership. I think his time's pretty much run. But now Ben Stokes still the hardest position in Banton. There's loads of them, billions of them. Ben Stokes is not doing that for England unless they've got injuries. The hardest place for me to bat in T20 cricket is the middle. I prefer Josh Butler in the middle because I think England have got so many options at the top. I just think the options that they don't have as well is that middle order. I just think it's so hard to bat at 4, 5, and 6 in T20 cricket. And my middle order for England would be Morgan, Butler, and Stokes. Not necessarily in that order, depending on the situation of the game, the bowlers that are bowling at that time. Very flexible. And I'd always open with Jason Roy and Johnny Bairstow, as long as they're fit, as long as they're playing nicely. But he can pretty much do anything, Stokes. I mean, it kind of winds us all up, those of us that have played the game, because we tried our best and we did okay, but he can try his hand at anything. He captains a bit these days. He can do anything. It's very annoying.
Yeah, and that catch was probably very annoying for Mandeep, because first you get a ball from Archer, which sort of just completely ties you up, and then Ben Stokes picks up that kind of catch. But then, of course, that just got Chris Gayle to the pitch earlier. So Ben Stokes may be saying, should have possibly not taken that. should have kept Gayle in the dugout for just a little bit. But the players, of course, will be out from the dugout really soon. 186 is what Rajasthan need to get. Gentlemen, before we go, where do you think the needle of advantage is? The famous needle of advantage.
Runs on the board, I think.
Oh, you spoke together. It's great for unity, but it's not good for content. Runs on the board, yeah, so advantage board, Punjab for you. Michael, for you?
Yes, runs on the board.
So both saying advantage Punjab. Does Ben Stokes or perhaps Sanju Samson have another plan? We shall find out really soon. We, of course, will be here halfway through the chase, or at least halfway through Rajasthan's batting effort with Cricbuzz Combox at the end of the 10th over. And then after the game, we shall return with My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. Big thank you to Pommie and Michael. Gaurav Kapur. See you in a bit.